The HOA president stormed toward me, screaming that I had 30 seconds to open the gate, or she'd have me arrested in front of the entire neighborhood. She called the sheriff, absolutely certain I'd be leaving in handcuffs. Instead, the deputies asked her one question that changed everything. When the deputy unfolded the certified county deed, the HOA president's smile disappeared. Every homeowner suddenly realized the only road to their private lake legally belonged to me. 24 hours earlier they laughed at my $22,000 repair bill. Now, an entire luxury neighborhood was trapped behind a gate they couldn't legally open. Here's how one HOA made the biggest mistake of its existence. The envelope looked ordinary, until I opened it. One single letter from the HOA was about to turn my quiet life into a legal war that nobody saw coming. At first, I thought it was another warning. Instead, it became the beginning of something much bigger. I had lived in that neighborhood for years. Until that morning, nobody had ever questioned my property. Then the HOA decided my land suddenly belonged to their rules. They thought I would simply comply. They had no idea what those property records actually said. Curiosity quickly turned into concern. Something about their claim didn't make sense. So I visited the county records office, looking for answers. The clerk handed me one faded map, and everything changed. The boundary wasn't where the HOA claimed it was. In fact, the truth was almost unbelievable. The only road leading into the community crossed my property. Nobody on the HOA board seemed to know it. Or maybe, they simply hoped nobody else would find out. Either way, I wasn't walking away anymore. This wasn't just about my land anymore. It was about every homeowner who had trusted the wrong people. Before confronting anyone, I needed proof that couldn't be questioned. Every measurement matched the county records perfectly. Now I knew exactly what I owned, and exactly what the HOA didn't. The board believed they controlled the neighborhood. They were about to discover the law had been on my side all along. The next HOA meeting was only 2 days away. I walked in carrying one folder, and complete confidence. The board expected another homeowner ready to apologize. Instead, I asked for the microphone. The room fell completely silent. Without saying a word, I placed the certified county deed on the table. The HOA president smiled, until she read the first page. She looked at the map, then back at me, then at the road outside. For the first time, nobody in the room interrupted me. I explained exactly where my property began, and where their authority ended. Every survey marker matched the county records. The facts were impossible to argue with. Still, the HOA refused to admit they were wrong. Instead, they threatened legal action. I thanked them, and quietly accepted the paperwork. Because lawsuits require evidence, and evidence was exactly what I had. That evening, I made one final phone call. The survey company agreed to begin work the following morning. By noon, every property line had been verified. There were no mistakes. No missing corners. No hidden easements. Everything pointed to the same conclusion. The HOA never owned the only road leading to their own private lake, and they were about to learn exactly what that meant. The survey report arrived the following afternoon. Every measurement confirmed what I already knew. The only entrance into the lake community legally crossed my property. Without that road, the HOA controlled nothing. I still hoped common sense would prevail. So I offered the HOA one final opportunity to resolve everything peacefully. The letter explained every survey, every county record, and every possible solution. All they had to do was admit the mistake. Instead, they voted unanimously to reject it. That decision changed everything. Because from that moment on, I stopped negotiating. The following morning, contractors arrived exactly on schedule. Every permit had already been approved. Every measurement had already been verified. Nobody could legally stop the construction. Residents slowly gathered, trying to understand what was happening. Rumors spread faster than the construction itself. By midday, the gate towers stood above the entrance. Only then did the HOA realize what I was building. She demanded the workers stop immediately. The supervisor simply handed her the county permits, and continued working. By sunset, the massive steel gate was finally complete. The only road into the community now stood behind a solid wall of black steel. The following morning, the first residents discovered the entrance was closed. Within minutes, dozens of neighbors gathered at the entrance. Nobody understood what had happened, except me. Then Marissa arrived, furious. She demanded I remove the gate immediately. I politely explained that the road was private property, and the permits were already approved. She threatened lawsuits, fines, and criminal charges. I simply smiled, and waited. Exactly 5 minutes later, Marissa called the sheriff. 2 patrol vehicles arrived less than 20 minutes later. The deputies listened carefully before asking one simple question. Who owns this road? Marissa answered first, but the county records answered louder. The deputy carefully examined every page. Then he compared the survey with the county database. Nobody spoke while the screen finished loading. The result matched every document I carried. The deputies quietly closed the file, and stepped away from the gate. One deputy looked directly at the HOA president and calmly said, "Ma'am, this is private property. We can't order him to remove a legal gate." In that moment, the entire neighborhood realized the HOA had just lost the only road to its own private lake. News of the confrontation spread through the neighborhood faster than anyone expected. By lunchtime, everyone knew the HOA had lost. By the next morning, television news crews had arrived. For the first time, the HOA wasn't controlling the story anymore. Marissa attempted to defend the board, but the documents spoke louder. Every question returned to the same issue: who really owned the road? County officials finally released their official statement. Their records confirmed exactly what my survey had already proven. The neighborhood reacted instantly. For years they had trusted the board without asking questions. Now, they wanted answers. An emergency HOA meeting was scheduled that same evening. Every chair filled before the meeting even began. Nobody wanted to discuss landscaping anymore. They wanted to know how the board had missed something so important. The answers never came. Instead, the room became quieter than ever. One homeowner stood and requested a vote. Within seconds, dozens more stood beside him. The vote was overwhelming. By the end of the night, the old board had lost the community's trust. But for me, the fight had never been about winning. It had always been about making the truth impossible to ignore. The very next morning, the new interim HOA board contacted me. This time, there were no threats, only one simple request. They admitted the previous board had made serious mistakes. Then they asked the question everyone had been waiting for. What would it take to reopen the road? I wasn't interested in revenge anymore. I wanted accountability. Every homeowner deserved complete transparency. Every dollar collected would now be publicly reported. Emergency infrastructure repairs would never again require board approval. The new board accepted every condition. Only then did I remove the key from my pocket. Everyone standing there understood the moment. The lock clicked open. The gate slowly rolled aside. Nobody rushed forward. Everyone understood what this moment represented. The road reopened, but the community had changed forever. Months later, investigators completed their financial audit. The report confirmed years of financial misconduct. The truth had finally become impossible to ignore. Months passed quietly. The headlines disappeared, but the lessons remained. Life slowly returned to normal. The road stayed open, exactly as it should. This time, everyone understood who truly owned it. Respect replaced fear. Even people who once supported the old board admitted the truth. Sometimes, doing the right thing simply takes longer than people expect. Justice rarely arrives overnight. But eventually, the truth catches everyone. The paper never changed, only the people reading it. One forgotten property line changed an entire community forever. Not because someone wanted revenge, but because someone finally refused to surrender the truth. The documents had always existed. Someone simply decided to read them. And that's when everything changed. The road remained exactly where it had always been. Only now, everyone respected its owner. Because real ownership isn't decided by popularity, it's decided by the law. One signature. One forgotten property line. One decision to stand firm. In the end, it wasn't the steel gate that changed the neighborhood, it was the simple fact that the truth had finally found its way home.